Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the City Guys podcast. We know it's been a while, but we wanted to come on here, talk about the end of the season here, and talk about all the new roster additions as well as the new MLS format and rules that just passed yesterday. So a little bit of breaking news here for you guys, but Varun, how you doing? How did you enjoy the end of the season?
I thought it wasn't bad. St. Louis City had a pretty good end of the season, we finished off decently strong. Our final game of the season, we won. We drew 2-2. We with Salt Lake, we beat Austin 3-1. There was that blowout loss versus LAFC 3-0. But I feel like that middle of August to like October run was honestly pretty good. I think Critchley is kind of getting a hold of the team here. I kind of hope that we keep him for next season. We don't really know what's going on with the coaching. A lot of things are changing in St. Louis City, so expect this next couple like winter months, the holiday season to kind of be pretty pivotal for St. Louis City because there's gonna be a lot of changes coming. So, but not a bad end of the season, honestly. This puts us like, if we had this run of form, we'd probably be in like the middle of the table. But it really
Yeah,
held us up like the entire season. But I think it was solid, solid.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, it reminds me a lot of last year as well, where they kind of ended the season off on a positive note after such a disastrous campaign, where it gives you a little bit of optimism, I guess, heading into this year. Uh, yeah, I mean, St. Louis City for a while there, it looked like they could potentially finish with the worst record in the league, and that did not end up happening. I believe they finished
We
sixth
finished
from the bottom.
we finished above Kansas City. That's all that
We
matters.
did. We did finish with Kansas
Fuck
was the
ass
worst
team.
team in the West this year. But yeah, I I mean, I'm not gonna say it was a good end to the season because they were still pretty terrible. But it wasn't the worst thing in the world. And yeah, I mean, this season was just such a disaster that I think everyone kind of just wanted it to be over. So I'm glad that we were able to at least end on a positive note. Um, Not ending the season on a loss is a good thing. So, what we really wanted to talk about here were the offseason moves and the future of this team and the future of the MLS as a whole. So, I mean, just getting into it, immediately after the season ended, we needed to look for a new sporting director as we fired Lutz during the season, I think rightfully so. And so finding a new sporting director was kind of priority of number one. And there were a couple of candidates, but we ended up going with Corey Ray, who was formerly working with Montreal, kind of crashed out there, didn't have too much success, but he also worked as part of Columbus's sporting team a few years ago. And I think Columbus is the blueprint model for kind of small market, small budget MLS teams to have success because they've obviously been phenomenal, really throughout their history, but especially these last 5 or so years. So I can understand why they went with him. The other big name that was floating around was Lee Dykes, who's a former Premier League player, currently works with Brentford, I think, as their technical director. He's been there for a few years.
Yeah.
He seemed very interested in the job, and it seemed like St. Louis City weren't really, those feelings weren't really mutual, and I don't really understand why. I feel like that would have been a really interesting hire. But I guess they wanted to play it a little bit safe, get a guy that has MLS experience, has experience working with a small market team, and it's probably a little less expensive. But I do think it was a little bit disappointing, in my opinion. I would have preferred Lee Dykes. I think that would have been a more interesting and exciting move. But I'm willing to give Corey Ray the benefit of the doubt. I mean, the stint at Montreal was pretty terrible. Um, so, I mean, Montreal's probably the worst position of any MLS team now. So,
I
doesn't really bode well for him. But yeah, I mean, what are your opinions on this?
think that Corey Ray, he has, I think, more than a decade of MLS experience. I think you did mention
Hmm.
that he worked with Montreal and Columbus, but he also worked with Toronto way
Yeah.
back when. And I think, like, from what I've read from Corey Ray, is that he's good for younger players. He develops academies pretty well. So, St. Louis City already does have one of the best academy teams in the league, entire
Hmm.
league, in the entire United States. So, I mean, it's only going to get better for St. Louis City too, I guess. But I guess the pipeline of players coming into the first team it would still probably be around the same. You know, you're still getting like those guys like Mikey Joyner, Tyson Pierce. They're all pretty good. They're developing pretty well. Um, Probably will see them more next season as well. But I mean, I don't know. He's kind of I don't really think of him like as like a blockbuster move, you know, like he's like I don't think he was ever like the guy like in any of the teams that he worked with. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure at Toronto he was like an intern kind of guy, like a he kind of worked his way up. Columbus he was like a number two, and then Montreal he was just kind of there. I guess he
Yeah.
was technically like the number one guy there, but it was a more of a failure for him. So it's going to be interesting to see how he kind of leads his team because he is the guy here. I also do know that I think they were looking at kind of changing the coaching, so the coaching could be different. We don't really know. I personally do think that Critchley is not a bad coach, but I don't really know what coaches are out there right now. I know that what there was an ex Philadelphia Union coach. I'm not really sure who else is available.
Yeah.
So I think at this point the best bet would probably be to keep Critchley because we saw what happened last year with Melberg. You know, you kind of just brought him in like January. He doesn't
Mhm.
really have a lot of time with the team to kind of develop him. He doesn't really know. He just kind of brought his own style. But Hackworth was doing pretty well, like relatively well. I mean, we were like a middle table team. We weren't great, but I know
Yeah.
that Hackworth was a okay job. He did a pretty decent job. So I think that just give Critchley maybe a year. Even like if he's not good in the summer, you could sack him or just kind of move him back to like City Two or something. But I think give him more time because Critchley, he's getting the hang of it here, so I really like him.
Interesting. I mean, I think I'm gonna disagree with you on this one.
Really,
I mean, I thought Critchley did a decent job. I mean, he came into a really, really tough position with a team that was playing a play style completely different from his. Didn't really have too much talent. So he didn't really have a great opportunity to prove himself. But I also don't think. I mean, he had a pretty sizable. He was the manager for the majority of the
yeah,
season because Melberg got fired very early on. So I think Critchley. I think he did okay, but I don't think anything that I've seen from him throughout this last year
yeah,
strikes me as impressive or necessarily the guy that I'd want leading this team forward. And I think it's really important that this city manager is here for the long run because we've had so much turnover with managers where it feels like we are, at rock bottom in a way right now. We don't have anything to build off of because every manager we've had, we've ended up sacking pretty early on. So I do think like as the sporting director, obviously very important, but I feel like this manager pick is even more important just because we need to make the right choice here because this is going to be someone that we have to stick with for a while here. We can't afford to fire another manager, hit midway through the season or even after like a season or two because you don't want to end up being a team that constantly fires managers because then you're going to lose out. Players aren't going to want to go there, managers aren't going to want to go there.
yeah,
So I do think it's really important, and I think maybe that played a part in why they went with Corey Ray over Lee Dykes. It's like Corey Ray, obviously a ton of MLS experience. He knows, he probably has a lot of connections. So he probably might have an easier time convincing coaches to come and interview and potentially take this job than maybe Lee Dykes would coming into like a brand new environment and league. So I could see that rationale. But yeah, I don't really know. I really have no idea who this next manager could be.
yeah. I think that the benefit of having Corey Ray as our sporting director is that on top of that, I feel like St. Louis City in the past has signed a lot of players from Germany. I mean, like
Mhm.
Bundesliga too, Bundesliga. So these players, I mean, we don't know like how well they're fit in. I mean, Marcel Hartel has been the best player, arguably the best player for St. Louis City this season, of course. But I mean, players like Teuscher, Teuscher was, I mean, he was good last year, but this year he was severely like mediocre. He was very mediocre. I mean, if not like terrible this year. And then like you have players like Baumgartel, I think, or not Baumgartel. Who was our fullback? Giannis Horn. He was okay.
Yeah.
He ended up going back to, I think he went back to Austria actually, after his loan ended. But like, I feel like the good thing about Corey Ray is that he brings in a lot of MLS experience, and we'll probably sign a lot more MLS proven players. That's what I want to see. Players who
Hmm.
know the MLS, who've been in the league for a while, and just know the style of the game here because it's very different than what you're seeing in Germany or like Austria or like Switzerland.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I think that that is a plus for having Corey Ray as our sporting director rather than Lutz, who just signed a bunch of players from Germany or
Hmm.
like Northern Europe and stuff. But I would also like to see St. Louis City kind of expand more rather than Europe. I would like to. I've been kind of saying this for like the past like year and a half now. I want to see St. Louis City go to like other parts of the world. You know, like South America exists. You know, like Africa. I mean,
Correct. Yeah.
we got Falou Fall from Senegal. I think like Spain also like Portugal, like other places than just Central and Northern Europe, I think would be
Hmm.
very, very. I mean, we could probably find ourselves like a gem from there, but I think that we just need something different here. And I do want. Do you want to touch on the roster decisions here that St. Louis City made? Because
Yeah. I mean,
I think these are like very interesting here.
yeah. I just wanted one last
Yeah,
thing I
yeah,
wanted to mention about Corey Ray. I found this comment. This is from a Reddit thread. Um, from a Columbus Crew fan talking about the Corey Ray hire. He said, "As a Crew supporter, I think St. Louis supporters should be ecstatic with this hire. He's a great talent evaluator and was a key piece of the team that put together both the 2020 and the 2023 MLS winning rosters. He didn't pan out in Montreal, but I wouldn't hold that against him. The ownership group is a train wreck,
yeah. I did read
and they
that.
ran out the best manager in MLS in town. So, failing to succeed there, it's not necessarily it's not necessarily something that should be held too much against him.
Mhm.
It's kind of the theme that I'm seeing from a
Yeah,
lot of fans around the MLS. But I don't know. My opinion on him, it's maybe not necessarily the guy I would have hired, but it does make a lot of sense, and I understand why they did it.
yeah.
So I'm
I,
gonna you give him the benefit of the doubt, and until he proves otherwise, I'm gonna put my trust in him.
Yeah, I did read that Toronto, he was more of like he didn't really have like a crazy amount of decision making on the team. Or not Toronto,
Mhm.
Montreal.
Yeah, Montreal.
Because their ownership group apparently like he was more of like a
It's very
puppet.
cheap.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
like a more of like a puppet for them. Like he just kind of did their own bidding because they didn't let him do anything. So yeah, I guess we could just kind of we're not going to forget Montreal, of course, but I think that we do give him the benefit of the doubt and kind of it's come into this with an open mindset, you know, like he could be very good for us. I think that his MLS experience probably is what is going to be good for our team personally. And yeah, from he does have a pretty good track record of developing players, of course. So St. Louis City too, of course, will still be pumping players into the first team lineups. I mean, Mikey Joyner, Brendan McSorley, all these type of guys, you know, they're all pretty good.
Orozco.
Yeah, Roscoe. Even Jaden Reed, I like Jaden Reed. He
Mhm.
kind of plays here and there for the first team, but he was good last year. So I mean, let's move on actually to this the rosters decisions here. I mean, there are some pretty big names that are gone for now
Yeah.
as of recording this video. I think actually the biggest thing here was actually they announced it in the final game of the season. Your goalkeeper, Roman Berkey, is staying for another year. Actually, what, 2028 has, I think, like the max contract would be 2028, actually. So 2026, I think 2027, he does have a contract. And then 2028 was the contract option. So
Mhm.
Roman Berkey's here to stay. Signed that huge contract with St. Louis City. So, I mean, that is, what are your thoughts about that? That is like massive. I mean, this guy was like, he's been here, of course, since
Mhm.
the start. He's a fan favorite, you know, like our favorite
Yeah.
players. So, what do you think? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he's been the captain since the start
Yeah.
too. So I mean, he's been a leader on this team
Yeah.
throughout the history of this team. So honestly, I was very surprised. I was definitely leaning towards the fact that he was going to leave. I feel like that was the narrative all year, especially with how bad St. Louis City was. I wouldn't have blamed him if he left. But yeah, I'm glad he's staying around. I do think he has. regressed a little bit from that first season. That was his peak here,
Yeah,
and he's not maybe at those heights anymore, but he's still one of the best goalies in the league, and he's the
yeah,
leader of this team. He's the captain. You have to bring him back if you can. So very good move. Starting the offseason off right.
yeah. And then also go sticking to goalkeepers. St. Louis City also just I think in this past week they just re-signed Ben Lunt, the backup goalie.
Mhm.
So I do think that Ben Lunt this year, I mean, he did get a lot more game time with
Yeah,
Berkey being out. I thought he was good. I'd give him like a B plus
yeah.
rating probably. I think he stepped in, he did the job. I do really like our third goalkeeper, Christian Olivares. I think that out of the three, he's probably the best penalty stopper because from what we've seen from
Mhm.
him, he is a crazy penalty stopper. He's very good at penalties saves. And I do think he's a very good emerging talent. So I don't know how long we re-signed Ben Loot for. 2027 season. So what, 2 seasons? So I think that Christian Olivares is a talent that we might end up letting go at the end of next year or something because
Yeah.
he is a very good emerging goalie and I do really like him. So St. Louis City needs to kind of make a decision on him as well. But I don't know. What are your thoughts with Ben Lou here? I think this was a decent signing. He's good. He's a solid goalkeeper.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I thought it was a fine signing. I think he definitely proved himself this season. I wasn't too impressed with what we saw with him before the season, but this season he was definitely very serviceable. Did a good job when he called upon. So I was fine with that re-signing. I think it's it is. I mean, it's a backup goalkeeper. It's not the most important position or signing in the world, but it made sense. I'm happy with it.
Yeah. I mean, after that, I'm not really sure what else we got. Henry
There's a lot
Kessler.
of
Henry
guys.
Kessler was huge. You want to talk about him?
I think let's save him to the end
Oh,
here.
okay.
Let's talk about the guys that we for sure let go of. Um,
Um,
j-
we got rid of uh, Michael Wenzel. He was a
yeah,
okay, but I thought there was like flashes where he was good, really good.
hmm
Let's keep on naming these guys. Rasmus Alm. I mean, I really like
that
the
one. Yeah,
guy. Really do
that one
like
to
him.
me.
Yeah, but he had to
Sorry, I
kind
didn't
of.
mean to cut
No,
you
no,
off.
no.
I was
You're
just
good.
gonna
All
say.
good. He had to kind of
I was
go.
just gonna say. Yeah, I was gonna say. Hey, for me, out of all of the St. Louis City players, he's the guy I feel like had maybe the most missed potential on the team. I really
It
thought
it
when
hurts.
he was going
Yeah,
to be one of the star players on the team when in that inaugural season because he had so much talent and really he'd had no competition on that right wing spot. It felt like that position was his for the taking, and just with
yeah.
injuries and just the way we lined up tactically, he didn't really get a chance to play. We didn't really play a ton with wingers early on,
No.
um, especially under Melberg too.
Yeah,
So he kind of got left out. I feel like we didn't really utilize him. So I think, yeah, very disappointing the way he panned out with St. Louis City.
there was a
And
lot
I
of.
think letting him go,
Yeah,
yeah,
it
I think
was
it was
a
the right move.
it was the right decision, but there was some crazy memories with him. I mean, he had
Mm,
that the crazy goal versus Inter Miami. I remember.
yes, yep.
There was one game where he scored from like 40 yards out. I don't remember what game it was. That was hype. But I mean, he was very injury prone. He didn't really play much this
hmm
year. Even last year he was very injury prone as well. But it was
Yeah,
the right decision. But I feel like out of all these, that one hurts the most.
yeah.
Alfredo Morales, we let him go. I think he was on a 1 year contract. He was okay. He was
hmm
good. I thought he was a decent guy. He's old though. That's the issue. He brought a lot of
Yeah, I
experience
mean
to the team.
they brought him in very late
Hmm.
last year, like right before the season started, and they kind of brought him. Yeah, it was a 1 year contract. I mean, it was kind of with the guise of like this is kind of just a 1 year thing.
Yeah.
Like this is not going to be long term. So yeah, not surprised to see that they didn't bring him back. He
Hmm.
he was okay. I mean,
He was okay.
he was serviceable, but he really only saw the field or saw the pitch when our main midfield wasn't out there. So
Yeah. And then one of the last ones I want to touch on is Akil Watts. I know you guys like. like we have like the city guys. I think most of you guys don't really like Akil Watts, of course. I personally really did like Akil Watts. I thought he was a cool guy. Um, but we let him go. I really liked Akil Watts, but he didn't have the best of season this year. I remember he did have that crazy goal. I think it was like a couple of weeks before the season ended. He had that one really crazy goal
Mhm.
outside the box, one bottom corner. Um, but I really did like Akil Watts. But he was just, I guess, didn't fit. I guess it's a good decision from the club actually. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on
Yeah.
this?
I mean, he's an OG guy. One of the few guys left that was on the original roster, actually,
Hmm.
looking at it
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I mean, he'll always be remembered for that, being a part of that original squad. And it's,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, he's not terrible. I
I
mean,
yeah.
he was kind of this, we kind of scapegoated him kind of as a meme mostly. Like he wasn't the worst player, but
We
he really did get a chance this year. I mean, he started the year off as one of the starting midfielders with Melberg, and
hmm
I just from what I don't know, he just didn't really make the most of that opportunity in my opinion.
yeah,
He was a serviceable player. He was all right, but he wasn't anything special. And I don't
yeah,
think like I think that's a player that if you want to be a better team, you have to replace those kind of players. Like your role players have to be better. And I
yeah,
feel like he was kind of a low tier kind of player.
I feel
I don't
like
know. Not trying to be
no,
disrespectful, but
I feel like what he was that he was decent at like everything, but he wasn't like great
he
at like
wasn't good at
one.
any. Yeah.
Yeah, he was like because he kind of fit in everywhere. Like that's the best thing I thought about like with him
Mhm.
was that if we had injuries in the midfield, like what's his name, Girdwood Reich or like Lewin was out, he'd kind of play that CDM role. He'd kind of play as a fullback if our fullbacks were hurt. He'd kind of play everywhere. He kind of that's why I think that kind of why he was kind of mediocre this year was that he didn't play in one specific position. He kind of played more as a
Yeah.
DM, but I feel like last year he was playing more as a fullback. He kind of played as like a left mid as well. But I mean, it was the right decision from the club. If you're gonna replace him with someone better, but as an OG, he was one of those
Yeah.
guys that I really did root for.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great way of putting it. He definitely felt like kind of a Swiss Army knife kind of
Yeah,
depth player where if you had injuries or if you needed like a late sub in a game or something like that to come off the bench, he would thrive in that kind of role. But I think this year when they really try to give him a chance in the starting 11, it just did not work out at all.
yeah,
So yeah, I wish him the best, but I felt like this again was the right decision here,
yeah.
letting
It
him
just
go.
didn't work out. And then yeah, I guess moving on. Selmir Pedro, the OG, the OG, bro.
Yeah, the first ever signing.
Respect the OGs, bro. Selmir Pedro. His contract expired, so he's gone. San Luis City, of course, did not
Crazy
re-sign
trivia
him.
question.
I think he played maybe 2 games total in the MLS. I don't.
Yeah.
He
Did
didn't.
he didn't play at all this year.
No,
He
he didn't
played
play
maybe
this
that
year.
first season? Was that was
I
it?
think he played like
He
once
played
last
two
season.
games?
No.
Oh, he played like I don't
Maybe
remember him
I
ever playing.
genuinely,
I'm
I
not gonna
genuinely
lie.
don't know. I don't remember. No, there was no memorable performances from him, so
I think the only time I remember him playing was that Bayer Leverkusen game.
that's why I remember
I feel
him.
like he played in that game, and I remember
Goal
that, but I
last
don't
year.
remember.
I don't remember him playing in
Yeah,
any
that was
MLS
just
game, genuinely.
yeah. I honestly don't.
But of course, he's gone. And then three players that have discussions still regarding their contracts are Joey Zielinski, Jaden Reed, and Seth Antwi. I guess starting off, Joey Zielinski, of course, he was a kind of a player that emerged out of nowhere from City 2.
Mhm.
I mean, he was pretty good. I really liked him.
Honestly, yeah, I'm kind of surprised that they ever re-signed him. He's pretty young, if
I
I'm
feel like
thinking correctly.
I feel like he
I
might be
feel
one
like
of
he
those
was a
players.
draft pick recently.
Yeah, I feel like he
I feel
might be
like
one of
yeah,
those
he's.
players that. Oh shit, my bad. You can keep going.
Oh, I was just gonna say no. You can keep
I was
going.
just gonna say that I feel like maybe like come like December or January, he'll probably get re-signed.
I hope so. Yeah, because yeah, when he came on um, during this season, he was really great.
He had a
I
banger
felt like he
goal.
was.
You remember the banger that he
Yeah,
scored?
I felt like. I mean, you mentioned Jaden Reed as well, who's up for contract negotiations. In my opinion, Jaden Reed
He fell off last
showed some
season.
potential. Yeah, but he didn't really have that great of a season, and I felt like Zelensky came in and kind of surpassed him. So I feel like if you're if you're if you had to pick between the 2 to resign, I would definitely
Well,
rather have Zelensky, I feel like.
I think that Jaden Reed was a left back and Zelensky was a right
Yeah,
back.
and Zelensky was a right back. But I
Yeah,
mean,
I think
I
that
feel
what.
like I'm just saying
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you had to pick one of the fullbacks to bring back, I would rather have Zelensky.
I feel like Orozco kind of coming up and like out of
Yeah,
nowhere was like the thing that really did cook Jaden Reed
yeah.
because Orozco was phenomenal. And then the one thing Paddle for I feel like we're gonna mention him later,
True.
so we'll keep that for like let's talk about Seth Antwi real quick. Just a City Two player. I actually really did like him. Um,
Mhm.
I thought he was great for St. Louis City 2. That's the thing. He was probably one of our best players on City 2. He's a
Mhm.
great on the ball player. He can hold the ball. He can make that like those crazy passes. He can kind of play like everywhere CDM, CM. I think he played center attacking mid maybe like once or twice, but he's very very good on the ball, midfielder type of like I don't know, like a Tony Cruz type of guy, like a Luka Modric type of guy when you think about it.
Yeah.
Like the MLS version of them, like the City 2
Yeah.
version of them, like the MLS next version of them. But I think he's from like Ghana, I think. So he came over to St. Louis City 2, and he was pretty good. He played, I think, 1 or 2 games for the first team, and I think that he was a pretty good guy, but I think that he might end up just going to another team where he'll get more game time. I
Mhm.
don't really see him getting crazy game time at St. Louis City.
Yeah, I mean, it's a player that I wouldn't mind bringing him back at all because
Hmm.
he didn't really get too much of a chance to prove himself. But again, like you said, I don't know if he's necessarily going to fit in with the direction of his team. If he wants to stay around and kind of play that kind of reserve role, I think I'd be more than happy to bring him back.
Yeah.
But if he wants to go get some more playing time, I understand that completely as well. So not necessarily a high priority, but I would bring him back if the option's available.
Hmm. And then moving on to our loaned players, and neither of these two guys, I really want these guys to kind of become permanent signings. Both these guys.
Hmm.
We'll start off with Conrad Valem, of course. Well, I think that he was a very, very solid player, one of our more consistent players, in my opinion.
Hmm.
Of course, he came from Slava Prague in Europe, so a pretty decent sized like team. Of course, they're pretty like big name
Hmm.
team in the region. Um, and I mean, he was kind of expensive, I guess. So San Luis City, of course, probably could not pay for him.
Yeah,
That's probably the issue here. So he's gone. What are your thoughts about him?
yeah, I would have loved to bring him back. He was on loan, like you said, very expensive, and I just don't think that would fit. Maybe with I think the team is definitely looking to save some money here.
Hmm.
Um, so I would, yeah, I don't think he would be coming back, but
Yeah, never fall in love with a lone player, bro.
I really liked Connor Vellum. I think
Yeah.
he, to me, you could just tell whenever he was on the ball that he was just had so much more technical ability than most of the players out there.
Hmm.
And yeah, like you said, he was consistent. He was really one of the only players that was consistent all season long. And
Yeah.
every single game, even though this team was complete ass this year, he gave it. He was one of the players that gave it everything they had.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that. I I hope some way it's possible we could bring it
Yeah.
back. Um, but no, I'm not holding my breath for it. I'd be pretty surprised if he came back.
I also he was one of those players, that he was kind of like a Akil Watts, where he kind of just played everywhere wherever the team needed him. He played
Yeah,
fullback, kind of played wing, kind of played as like he played as a 10 a couple times, played as a central midfielder. Yeah, that's what we when we like kind of signed him in January. Um, that's what like everybody was
yeah,
talking
he's a.
about
Mhm.
was that he can kind of play everywhere. So he's that kind of guy who can kind of fit in and kind of just be good regardless of his
I like it.
position.
Yeah. You're saying he's like the MLS version of Dominic Szoboszlai? That's what
Hell
the
nah,
streets were saying.
get out of here, bro. Get out. And then the other player, Devin Paddleford, I really did like him. He
Yeah.
became our starting left back at the end of the season, and he was that long ball merchant, bro, like a long ball, like the
Yes.
throw in merchant, bro.
Yes,
Arsenal
dude.
ass fucking dude, bro. But that one, Loki, like I think that he was actually like genuinely like so good. Like he was like the first like left back I think since like geez forever that I thought was like a solid left back. He was dropping consistent performances. He was good on the ball, and I love that mustache, bro.
Yeah, I mean, left back is always literally every single season it's been a position of worry or
Hmm.
concern. Like we've never had a solid, consistent left back.
Yeah,
Um, really both fullback positions, but especially left back.
yeah.
I mean, when they brought him in on loan during the summer, I was kind of surprised because we had a few guys that were kind of rotating that position, and Paddleford wasn't like the biggest name player, or he didn't really have the best track record, but he
Hmm.
came in, got that starting spot, and played it really well. And I was very pleasantly surprised. I mean, I really liked his performance. I really liked his energy, and it was kind of a wholesome thing too, low key. Like maybe it's a bit cringe, but I feel
Yeah.
like he like the way the fans loved the way he played. I mean, he was a player that would put his body on the line every single, he'd put everything into every single challenge.
Hmm.
And he'd always get huge ovations from the crowd. And you
Yeah.
could tell that really got to him. It meant a lot to him because I don't think he really got too much opportunity elsewhere in the MLS. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would love to
Um,
bring him back. I think with how he played, he deserves to get a contract here.
yeah.
And I don't think he would be too expensive. I don't think this shouldn't really be an issue
I
for
think
financial wise.
I also think that Minnesota was trying to offload him anyways because he wasn't like
Yeah,
starting over whoever they have. So I think that St. Louis City, this is a perfect option for the St. Louis City to kind of
yeah,
get him for cheap. And I mean,
yeah,
like, yeah, he was a fan favorite. Like, he came in the middle of the season. I mean, in the summer, I remember all the
mhm.
people, like, everybody had like those, like the Paddleford mustaches, bro. He had like that bushy
Yeah,
mustache, bro. I love that, and I really do hope that he's like one of those guys. If we can't get Conrad Valem because he's too expensive, I think Devin Paddleford is one of those guys that we have to re-sign because he was like one
yeah.
of those like rock hard
And what
defenders, you know. He's a solid defender, you know, but
he's good.
um,
He's really good.
from what I have heard, actually, is that St. Louis City is actually in conversation with Minnesota to kind of get him back. So they are
Yeah,
actively trying to get him back right now. So and
yeah. I
same thing
mean,
with Conrad Baum too. They're in conversation, so it could happen.
yeah. I mean, the Paddleford one is just a no brainer for me. I
Yeah.
mean, kind of surprised it hasn't been done already. Um, 'Cause I mean, it's just a win-win for both sides. Minnesota gets money for a player that they don't want,
Mhm.
and City get a player in a position that they need. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
just make it happen. Just make it happen.
yeah, and then that basically wraps up all the guys that we kind of let go and here and there. One more I think I want to talk about would be Josh Yarrow. We originally did let him go with Ben Lute also. Ben Lute, we did let him go and then we re-signed both of them. Josh Yarrow, I
Mhm.
think a 1 year contract. I don't think it's not a crazy bad signing. I think that he's just a depth piece at this point. I don't really
Mhm.
know why Yarrow himself would re-sign because I don't think he'd start a lot, and I think that there were teams that would have been interested in him kind of playing more. So I guess
Yeah,
it's just a depth piece because our center back room is garbage right now. I think if Fall or
yeah,
Baumgartel get injured, we're kind of cooked. There's no depth without Kessler.
yeah. I mean, I was very surprised when they re-signed him.
Hmm.
He was in the same boat as Watts, in my opinion, where um, I just didn't really see how he would fit in with the future of this team, other than being like a reserve bench player,
He was an
depth kind
OG,
of guy.
bro. OG.
He wasn't. I love Josh R. He's a great dude as
Hmm.
well. But yeah, I'm very surprised. This was one of the guys that I thought for sure was not coming back. So I was very shocked to see him resign.
You know,
It's not a terrible move. I mean, they didn't
yeah.
give up too much. It's a 1 year deal, but I will say it doesn't bode well. I feel like for the Henry Kessler contract negotiations. I feel like if they were confident that Kessler was going to come back, they would not have made this
Mhm.
move.
Yeah, I the thing is like with Yara was that I thought like even like last year, everybody thought that he was gonna leave for San Diego last year because I
Hmm.
mean I think that what he played for like one of the San Diego like local teams in the area. I think it was like the USL team or something there. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, everybody kind of thought that he would be gone last year because he was like a decent player, you know, but just needed more game time. But even like this year, I don't know why St. Lucie like I thought he was like a for sure goner because I mean, like, I think at
Mhm.
this point, Yarrow himself would have been sick to kind of stay at St. Louis City because he's just not playing a lot, um, and it just wasn't like the right place for him to kind of develop more. So, from both sides, I thought it was like a kind of interesting decision. But I mean, he is a depth piece, so he is a solid defender most times. There were mistakes last year, but I think that he was. It's just a good depth piece for the team.
Yeah, I mean, he's a serviceable MLS player, but, we've seen a lot from him over these last 3 years. And I just yeah, I feel like we know what he is at this point, and it's not necessarily a guy that I thought they were gonna bring in for the future. So that kinda surprised me, but it's a one-year deal, so,
Bro.
um, what the big saying?
Dude, on another note, something, another sport here. Alabama just lost, bro.
What?
Alabama
Wait,
just
what?
lost, bro. Alabama just
Uh,
lost to
l
Oklahoma, bro. Just a side note here.
no.
They just lost to Oklahoma. Number four Alabama, bro.
Wow. Breaking
Yeah,
news here on the
yeah.
podcast.
Yes, bro.
Very, very shocked. Maybe we'll do a college football, playoff podcast or
I
maybe an
mean,
episode on the
yeah.
channel at some point. I think
Just kind of
but,
hinting for the future, you know.
yeah, a little Easter egg
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the pod. Anyway, let's
yeah,
get back on track here.
yeah.
Um,
So now we're moving on
do you wanna
to
talk about Kessler real quick?
yeah, yeah, actually,
I
because
mean, that's
after
the
that,
elephant in the
yeah,
room.
after that, I think we're just gonna stick with players that re-signed. So let's talk about Kessler
Mhm.
before that. Yeah, you know, take that away. Kessler, bro, huge, huge.
I mean, yeah, Henry Kessler was a guy they brought in via trade last year, right? He
Mm-hmm.
was part of the Tim Parker trade.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
so I mean, they gave up. Yeah, we gave up our star center back to get this guy. We gave up, you know, quite a bit of value to bring him in, and he came in and
Phenomenal.
played very well, especially at the start of this year under Melberg. He was the one guy that really thrived under Melberg, in his
Yeah.
system, and Kessler himself has talked about that a lot. How Melberg really helped him develop. Um, and yeah, so Kessler was kind of the bright. He was the MVP really for that first half of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Gets injured, kind of goes down with an injury, doesn't play very much for the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And he did kind of fall off, I feel like, after Melberg left.
Yeah.
He definitely there was a couple of errors and maybe some I feel like he was kind of a little bit like he wasn't very aggressive, I feel like. And maybe that was part of him coming back dealing
Yeah.
with injuries. Probably played a part in it, but I feel like he was just a little bit off when he came back. But I mean, that first half of the season, the way he played was so phenomenal. One of the best center backs in the MLS when he was at his peak.
For sure.
So I feel like the problem here is that he was on a very big contract. New England was paying part of his salary when he was here on his last
Mm-hmm.
contract. So he's going to want more than that. And I think he does deserve it at this point from what we've seen. Even with the injuries, he's a very injury prone player, but when he plays, he's very good.
Mm-hmm.
And he is a guy that St. Louis City really needs. I mean, center back is probably our weakest position group right now. And I just don't think like if we don't end up signing Kessler, we're gonna have to go out and find somebody.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna be really difficult to do. I feel like for me,
Bro, Walker Zimmerman exists, bro.
no,
Yeah.
I'd rather bring back
Yeah.
Kessler.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
Yeah.
Kessler to me,
Yeah.
it just I
He's
know it's
a
expensive. I know this team doesn't want to spend money, but you gotta bring him in.
he's
I mean,
so
this
good.
team is gonna be terrible if we don't have
Yeah.
solid center backs, and we have two decent ones right now.
Hmm.
But we really need to bring back Kessler.
Yeah.
And I get it. I mean, the big concern, other than the money, is injury history. He's very injury prone,
Mm.
which I think management obviously is aware of and is probably taking into account. They don't want to pay a guy a ton of money who's not going to be on the pitch.
Yeah.
So it is a big question mark. But I think you got to take risks like this if you want to be a competitive team.
I feel like the club is kind of still, you know, like haunted by like Selmir Pedro and Joachim Nielsen, bro. Those are
Joakim
guys
Nilsson,
fucking
yeah,
made out of glass and yeah, you know,
the
you have
swing swing
yeah.
uh what am
What's
I
up?
trying to say? String cheese,
String cheese, bro.
hamstrings.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to say.
Swiss cheese, bro. Ah, dude, bro. But yeah, I mean, this was like yeah, of course, he was a very expensive player, so I could see why they're not gonna, but I guess they're just kind of put their trust on Baumgartel and Falou Fall, who's still developing. Falou Fall is going to be a great player in the future, I really do think, but he's still developing. He was getting better as the season went on. I feel like his
Yeah.
worst game was kind of like a outlier because it was that one Chicago game where he had a stinker.
Yes. Yeah.
But the pitch was genuinely horrible. It was like the backup like Chicago pitch that hasn't been like renovated in like 25 years, and he was slipping and sliding everywhere. I mean, everybody was, but I think that was his worst game of the season. But he was getting better as the season went on, kind of showing potential
Yeah.
of what he could be. But the issue is that if either of those guys go down, dude, we are cooked at center back if we don't have like a
And
Kessler coming
yeah.
on.
And the thing is, Baumgartel, who was pretty solid as well.
Yeah.
He's older. He's a lot slower, and he's also injury prone. Like he's missed a lot of time with injuries as
Hmm.
well. So I would say it's almost a guarantee that one of these two guys gets injured at some point next year. And I mean, I guess maybe that's why they brought in Josh Yarrow. And I mean, they have Kyle Hebert as well, so they have
Yeah.
like two depth center backs.
Kyle
But to
Hebert.
me, if either of those guys are starting for a significant portion of the season, that's just not good enough. I mean, that's what we've seen the last couple of years. It's just not good enough.
Yeah.
It, it's just got to bring back Kessler. I
I
mean,
feel
if they don't
like
bring back Kessler,
yeah.
it has to be because they found a replacement guy that's just as good.
That's what I was gonna bring
Um,
up. Is that I think that in this December January window, whenever the transfer window opens up, I do think that they are gonna get a new center back. Is that what I'm kind of seeing from here? That you really
yeah,
have to at this point you really have to because our center back depth is really bad. Um,
yeah.
but
Even with Kessler, it's still not great,
it
to be
was still
honest.
bad last year.
Yeah,
But I think yeah, Kessler is a guy that we really need to re-sign, but I don't really know how practical it is with the money.
yeah.
But kind of let's just kind of move on here. Just kind of touch quickly on the players that re-signed. The current roster, actually, let's just go over the entire roster currently as a whole. Our goalkeepers currently are Berkey, Lunt, and then Olivares. A solid goalkeeper room. Defenders,
Mm.
Kyle Hebert, Josh Yarrow, Orozco, Totland, Baumgartel, Falufal, and JGR technically is still on the team. But
But he
yeah,
is on
another guy
loan.
that we
Yeah,
need. Yeah, we did loan him back to. I think it was
Australia.
Auckland City,
Yeah,
like
Auckland City.
the
Yeah.
biggest team in Oceania. So I mean, he's gonna develop there, bro. Because I mean, they are a decent team, like genuinely in the region. So he will get game time there. But midfield, Marcel Hartel, the best player on the team, probably. Ostrak is back. I thought he was a pretty good player. Leuven, bro. Pompeu, Joyner, Durkin, which I'll talk about Durkin in a second. Tyson Pierce and Miggy Perez is finally back, bro.
Hmm.
Forwards, Klaus, Toyshirt, Brendan McSorley, Sangbin, Betcher, and Caden Glover. So, I mean, in overall, I think defense is genuinely like one of the positions that we have to improve on. Midfield, I think, is a position that we might need to get one or two more guys that are like
Hmm.
genuinely like solid players, like MLS proven players. Forwards, I think, might be a questionable year. I mean, we have Klaus. Klaus
Yeah,
probably arguably will start. Sangbin, of
and saying that.
course,
Mhm.
phenomenal player, but left wing. If we do run with the wing, I don't know who's the left winger. Pompeu kind of plays wing. Joyner kind of can play that wing, but no player kind of like stands out at the left wing now.
I agree, and I feel like yeah, left wing's definitely a position. If they're really confident in Joyner, then I think they could be okay rolling with Pompeo and Joyner. But from what we saw, Joyner was okay, but
Yeah,
he didn't look the best on the ball last season. Nothing that really inspired me or maybe super optimistic about him. So I would still circle it as a position of need.
yeah, I think
It's not necessarily the biggest need in the world, but if there's players available at left wing for good value, definitely something that we could. consider there. I feel
Yeah.
like the midfield. I've been talking about this all year. I feel like the midfield needs a revamp. It's so old.
Mhm.
And the guys. I mean, Chris Durkin just not good enough in my opinion. He had a disastrous season.
I feel like
I
he
think we need to move off of him, in my opinion. That's just me, but I
transfer
feel like
window. I feel
that's
like
a
he's gone.
that's a guy
That's
that
my
I feel like
feeling.
is
Yeah.
making decent money too. I feel like he's making a decent amount of money. So if they're
I
looking to clear some cap
mhm.
space and clear the books a little bit, he's one of the main targets I would look at.
I think
But yeah, the midfield for me,
the number one signing has
um,
got to be Toy Shirt, bro.
boy shirt for as
That
well.
Saudi bag, get him. Saudi Arabia,
Yeah, I mean, Toy
please.
Shirt, I think had the worst season of any St. Louis City player last year.
Hmm.
It was so disappointing because they brought him in midway through the 2024 season during the summer, paid a decent amount to get him, or he was a free transfer, but his salary was pretty
Hmm.
large,
Yeah,
and he was pretty good for
he was good.
that the end of that season. He was really good, and he was just not it this year. I don't know, maybe he plays like that. Not he played like that striker role at Hanover, which he didn't really get a chance to play with St. Louis City. They mostly used him as a 10 or like on the outside. So I would give him a little bit of leeway
Yeah,
with that. But man, you got to move off of him. I mean, he was so disastrous last season that I don't. I just think confidence wise, his confidence has to be
yeah,
like negative at this point. It was such a bad campaign.
yeah,
So yeah, him and Durkin are the two guys that I would move off
yeah.
of.
So
I mean, yeah, if you even can, to be honest.
yeah, I mean, I think overall, then the number one positions that we need to kind of get something in filled for probably would be center back, midfielder, of course, maybe like a CM or a CDM, and then a left winger would be nice. I think left winger would be
Yeah,
nice.
I think yeah. I mean, that's kind of the thing with the Kessler negotiations is I think one of the benefits of re-signing Kessler would be you can devote your scouting and your time to other positions. You don't have to go out and find another center back,
Hmm.
which to me, with a team like St. Louis City where you have multiple positions of need,
Hmm.
that to me just makes sense, even if it's a little bit expensive
Yeah,
and maybe for a guy that is a little bit more injury prone than you'd like, just bringing him in just so you could focus on the midfield and the left wing, which are also huge positions of need. Um, but I don't know. I mean, left back, assuming we bring back Paddleford, I think our fullbacks are pretty solid. Goalkeeper is obviously solid.
yeah,
You have a couple players. I mean, striker with Klaus, solid. Right wing with Sengbin, solid. You got Leuven in the midfield, but he's a bit of a question mark at this point with his personal situation.
hmm,
And I feel like, assuming you don't bring back Vollum, the midfield needs a lot of work,
yeah,
almost a complete overhaul, honestly.
yeah.
Oh, we didn't mention Marcel Hartl.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, he's, in my opinion, the best player. Like, I think you when you give him like
y-
he carried St. Louis City. He actually, I think he ranked top five in the entire MLS for chances created, which is absolutely crazy
yeah,
because we didn't score off a lot of those chances.
he's
But
a
he
guy
was,
that could
yeah,
play on that left wing as well.
yeah. I
If we
prefer
need it,
him. I think I'd prefer him more as a 10 though, because
I agree.
I think you'd want to get an actual left winger, someone preferably like a Sang-bin on the right wing, like has pace, kind of get in behind. Because Marcel Hartel has, I mean, he's good on the ball, he's good at passing. And then if Lewin
Hmm.
does play, I think Lewin will start. Lewin, I think Lewin did have a pretty solid season last year for what he did
He's pretty
play.
good.
I mean, he had a couple
Hmm.
like banger goals. I mean, he had that one free kick against Seattle, and then the one like insane volley. I think it like
Yeah,
MLS goal of the month right there. I swear, bro. But he was good. Like his balls were good. His passing was good. I think Lewin is solid, but we just don't know what will happen with him next season. How much he will play. I mean, injuries probably, and then the personal situation. So get midfielders. Kind of something that Hartel can kind of play around with. I think that Hartel would be like the guy you build the team around.
I agree. I mean, was he's by far the most talented player on the team. I agree
Oh,
with
by
that.
far, yeah.
Um, and when you have a player that talented, you've got to play him in his preferred position, which
Hmm.
is cam. He can play the left wing, but he's not as good there. So yeah, I mean Pompeo is pretty good on that left wing, but he's also injury prone, and you don't have any depth there. I mean, your depth is Joyner, who
Hmm.
I'm not very confident in, to be honest.
He
So
still
yeah,
has to
getting a
develop.
left winger,
Yeah.
and if you can bring back Vollum, I think that would be great. I'd slot him in that midfield. But you got to bring in a couple more midfielders as well, a couple depth guys, and if you don't re-sign Vollum, you need another guy to play alongside Leuven and kind of that double pivot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this team, a lot of people, including us, I feel like a lot on the podcast talked about how we kind of wanted a complete roster overhaul, and maybe that was a little bit unrealistic, considering you got to remember these guys are all on contracts, and it's not easy to move these guys to other teams. You got to find another team that wants them at a good price.
Yeah.
So yeah, there wasn't as much roster turnover as I think we expected, but you still got the main pieces on this team. Nobody
Yeah.
that we lost, with the exception of
Kessler.
Kessler and I guess Vollum as well.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think we lost anyone too valuable that like is going to sink the team. I mean, you brought back Berkey. You got still have Leuven. You still have Hartle. You brought back Klaus. Brought back Sangbin. You brought back the best players from last year,
Yeah.
with the exception of Kessler and Vollum. But yeah, I mean, it's just going to depend on the moves that we make here. I wouldn't expect us to be making too many crazy moves, but if we can get some young players that could fit with the system and fit with the whatever system the manager is going to put in, which I guess is kind of delaying this transfer process as well as we don't have a manager yet. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be a big off season for City, and I'm excited to see what happens.
I completely agree. I think that how about let's move on to the MLS itself, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
MLS playoffs are going on right now, but the big news here is that recently this week, MLS made some major rule changes. You want to talk about that, Fletcher? I mean,
Yeah, I
crazy.
mean, yeah, the MLS owners all got together yesterday, was it? Or maybe 2 days ago at
Two
this
days ago.
point.
Yeah, 2 days ago.
2 days ago, they got together and they voted on a couple pieces of legislation um, regarding the MLS. The biggest of which is changing the season format to align with the rest of the world. Which what that means is that the 2020 in 2027, the season will start in July, will go on until December, and then have a winter break
Uh,
for about 2 months,
yeah.
and then we'll come back in February and go to May, and the MLS Cup final will be in May. So we'll have a July to May season, just like the rest of the world. Actually, it'll start a month earlier than the rest of the world. So yeah, I mean, it's just a massive change that felt like it was gonna. I mean, this was kind of a little bit debated, um, but I don't know. It's a move that I think overall, I think people agree that this was the right move to
Yep.
make.
Yep.
Um, I don't know what your I want to hear your opinions on it first because I might have a little different one than you.
I feel like as a fan, I think I preferred the old current format just because I mean there's nothing to watch in the summer. That's the only issue that I have. Is
Hmm.
that like there's no football, there's no basketball, there's no hockey, all that kind of stuff is probably over by then. But if you're a player, if you're a manager, if you're like more practical, you know, looking at this, it fits better with like the international world just because of the fact like I mean international breaks and stuff, you know, and then on top of that, like transfer windows, you know, like let's say like a player in Europe gets like a transfer, they don't really have that much time to kind of integrate with the team. They just immediately get thrown into the team in the MLS because they'd come in and they play like the week after they get signed. For example, like
Hmm.
Toysher or like Hartel. Rather than in Europe, when you have like a huge signing or something, they'd have the preseason, all that kind of stuff. So I think like it's a good thing for players and like managers and everybody who like works in the MLS. I think it'd be pretty good. Um, but personally, I think that I did like the summer kind of like the games all in the summer, like the May through like the summer, August. Those games were low key like pretty peak in my opinion.
I agree. I enjoyed the old format. I feel like, yeah, that was kind of an unpopular opinion, but I enjoy having the games in the summer.
Hmm.
Having it not at the same time as the rest of the world. I think it gave the MLS kind of a unique little spotlight.
Yeah,
Um, but
yeah,
I understand the move.
it
It,
was
it
due.
makes sense.
It was due.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense with the league is trying to grow globally, not just in the US, but it wants a global market. And doing this, it allows for the transfer windows to be more in sync. So you're going to have better movement of players between leagues.
Hmm.
And yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. The one thing I don't like about it is the 2 month break.
I guess
Um,
I think that like
I
the biggest
understand it.
what's up? Yeah, go on. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I understand it. It's due to there's a few teams in the MLS that play pretty far up north where weather conditions are really bad.
Yeah.
So, but to me, it just I feel like a 2 month break is just too long. I know like the Bundesliga has like a 3 week break in the wintertime because of the same thing, and like a lot of the Scandinavian leagues have that. But for me, a 2 month break is way too long. I think if they would have done like a 3 week break around like Christmas time, I'd understand that. And honestly, if you would, I think you just make like teams like Minnesota, who I think is the main team affected
Yeah.
by this because Vancouver plays in a dome. Toronto is also affected, and Montreal, I believe, plays outside. So Toronto, Montreal, and Minnesota are like the three teams
Hmm.
that this break was made for.
Yeah.
I would just make those teams play road games like around that time. I know that's very inconvenient for those teams, maybe a little bit unfair, but doing this where you're kind of cutting the season in two and making I mean the MLS season basically goes the entire year. There's a 1 month gap between the MLS Cup and the start of the new season,
Hmm.
and I just don't like the 2 month break. It's just ridiculous. There's the 2 month break is longer than the off season. Like what are we
That's
doing here?
yeah.
I feel like that's
That's
just
true.
I don't know. I feel like that to me is such a negative that I can't really be super happy about this move. Honestly, I would have preferred if they would have kept the old way. I think is where I'm sitting right now.
Yeah, I completely agree. Um, I do think there is another thing that I think that we should talk about is that there has been, I don't think this is confirmed yet, but there's a lot of speculation going that the conferences are going to be divided even more. So the Western Conference
Yes.
and the Eastern Conference currently is going to be much different. There's going to be five new conferences. There's going to be the Northwestern, Southwestern, Southeastern, Northeastern, and then the Midwest division. So I think what St. Louis City will
Mhm.
be playing Chicago, Minnesota, Columbus,
Cincinnati and
Cincinnati,
Kansas.
yeah, and then Nashville probably as well. So I think that that's a cool. Honestly, in my opinion, I think that's really cool. Assuming kind of like hockey, where you have like the multi divisions, like NFL, kind of when you have like each. Yeah, I think that's cool. Um,
Yeah,
it kind of makes it a lot more
I
interesting. Yeah,
I really like this change. Um, I think they did vote for it, so I think it is confirmed.
solid.
And they're getting rid of the conferences in general. I think it's just a single table now for the entire league,
That's
just six divisions.
that's nice.
Um, which I love this change
Yeah.
because just the one of the problems that I have with MLS now is that you don't play every team
Mm-hmm.
like every year,
Facts.
which is kind of annoying because if there's a team like Inter Miami that you really want to see, you might not even have them on your schedule. So with this new change, you play the five other teams in your division twice. So once home, once away, and then you play the 24 other teams once. So you play 34 games total, which is the same amount of games, and you are also helping with rivalries. Obviously, we have the rivalry with Kansas, and kind of with Chicago. Well, that one's kind of manufactured, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But we'll have Minnesota, we got Columbus, we got Cincinnati, who are going to be playing twice a year. I love this change.
It's gonna be
I
cool.
think this one to me, I'm a lot happier about than the form or the schedule change. So Yeah, this one to me, they haven't. I don't think they have announced how the playoffs will exactly work with this new format. I would assume the division winners would get some sort of bye or something. And I don't know, maybe they'll expand the playoffs or something. Because six divisions, it's kind of weird. Like it's kind of a weird number. We're gonna have six division winners. I don't know how they're gonna split that up, but I really like this change. However they do it, I'll be on board with. And I think the other like thing I wanted to briefly mention was with the schedule change. So this next season will be normal. It'll be the same as it's always been, like
Yeah,
going through the summer. And the new scheduled season that starts July and May will start in 2027. So July 2027 will be the first season with those with that schedule format.
yeah,
But between the two, there's going to be a what they're calling a transition season, which is going to be a 14 game season with the MLS playoffs and MLS Cup. That goes from February to May of 2027. So there's going to be a incredibly short, almost like COVID-esque season that they're going to play between these two formats, which is so funny to me. Um, like a 14 game MLS season is crazy, and they're going to treat it like it's a full season. They're going to give away the MLS Cup. They're going to have the full playoffs. I think this is our best chance to win a trophy. Is this shortened season? It's going to be the most Mickey Mouse season of all time. Um, Whoever wins is going to have a massive asterisk on the cup. No one is going to take it seriously, but I really hope we win it because that might be our only chance at winning something anytime soon.
think I think that I saw like a bunch of people were trying to make it more like a like you know how like the MLB has like the spring training. I think I saw like a bunch of
Yeah,
people were trying to do that with like the like that couple months that the MLS runs it. Like the MLS spring training, bro.
yeah. I think counting it as a full season is so weird to me, and pretending like it's the same. No, I think it's weird. I would have like I get why they have to do it. Like you don't want to lose out on all that revenue,
Yeah.
but I think I hope they maybe revise this and maybe come up with something cooler, like maybe create a new tournament, um, or create like a new format, like maybe a I don't know, like a round robin
Hmm.
style, like World Cup style tournament or something, instead of playing this like micro season that no one is going to take seriously. I think it's so funny to me that they're doing this. I think it's the funniest thing that's come out of all these new rule changes.
Dude, apparently they're also trying to make more daytime matches. So
Yeah,
they're
I mean that makes
doing way
sense.
more daytime match
Um,
weeks than currently.
which I'd be on board with that. I do enjoy the daytime matches, and obviously the problem with having the schedule over the summer is that it's just too hot to play daytime matches most of the time.
Yeah.
So
It's like
you have a few like early on, and you have a few at the end of the season. But during the summer, it's almost all night games. These are fun, but when every game is a night game, they don't feel very special.
yeah.
You know what I'm
No,
saying?
I agree. I agree.
So daytime matches, like afternoon matches, be on board for. I think that's a positive coming out of this.
Yeah. I don't think I have anything else. I'm not sure. Do you have anything else?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything. I just maybe you wanted to briefly touch on the MLS playoffs right now.
Dude, I don't think what.
Keeping up with the playoffs at all.
I
Um,
think Inter Miami and Philadelphia are playing, and then I think
yeah,
it's like after Thanksgiving or something.
yeah. There's a weird kind of gap for some reason between the first and the second round.
Wait. Oh yeah, it's the
Yeah, it's a week from
quarterfinals.
now.
Quarterfinals.
Yeah,
San Diego versus Minnesota. What do you think? Who do you think is going to win the San Diego versus Minnesota? I got my money on San
I would
Diego.
I'll go Minnesota here. I think Minnesota pulls off the upset.
Philly
Um,
plays New York City FC, bro. I think Philadelphia's got
uh,
that.
yeah, I'll go Philadelphia.
Inter Miami and Cincinnati. That's
I'll
cool.
go with.
I think
Ooh,
Miami.
that's a tough one.
I think
I'll go
Miami.
Cincinnati. I'll go Cincinnati here.
LAFC and
Miami,
Vancouver. That's a good one.
I was gonna say Miami barely scraped by past Nashville. That was a close series.
Didn't they win like 4-0 in the last game though?
They won the final game, but it went
Okay.
to a game three.
I think like
Um,
playing, dude, they fucking play. They play Nashville like every like five,
yeah, I
every
saw
other
that
five,
meme
every
on
other five
Twitter.
games, bro.
Somewhat, yeah, some non-American fans were like, "Is it just me, or is that Inter Miami play Nashville
I
like every
swear.
other week?" And
I
it
swear.
does kind of feel like that. They played him quite a bit. They played him in that League Cup final a couple years ago. That was iconic.
Yeah,
Um,
bro.
one of the greatest, unironically, one of the best games ever. That the League Cup final.
That one, no, that
Um,
was crazy, bro. Yeah,
yeah,
LAFC and Vancouver like the last one. I don't. That
I
one's
would go with LAFC there.
that was a good one. That's a good game. I think LAFC
I'd say who is your pick to win the whole thing out of all these remaining teams?
probably LAFC. I think
Yeah, I
LAFC.
mean, LAFC's
They're
very
so they
very.
can
It's a
they
very safe pick.
I
I'll
don't
go with I'll go with Cincinnati.
I think
Cincinnati's been right on the cusp the last couple years. I
I
think
feel
this is the
like
year they get it done.
I want to see the Philadelphia Union versus Inter Miami game. I hope that both those
I don't
teams.
want to.
I
I
feel like
don't want to see that. To be
you
honest,
don't. Nah.
nah, it's too much pain.
What do you
I
mean?
cannot see Bradley Carnell uh, win a chip, bro. That would be disastrous. What could have been, man? What could have been?
Hell no, dude. I was
But
like,
yeah, my pick is Cincinnati to win the whole thing.
I got yeah. I think LAFC probably has the best bet, but I think other than that, nothing. I don't really have anything else.
Yeah, I mean, we will stay on the lookout for these transfers. If anything happens, we might post another video, but this is probably gonna be the last one for a little while. I know we had a big break between our last one and this video,
Went off the
so we
grid.
apologize for that. But yeah, we went off the grid a little bit. But yeah, we're gonna return for next season. Don't worry about that. Uh,
Season two,
so
bro. Season two is always better.
season two, bro.
Yeah.
Facts. No, season
Second.
three is always better than season two.
Eh, no, that's not facts.
That
That's not facts.
was not true this year. That was definitely not true.
Um,
But yeah. Oh, whenever they appoint the new manager, we will be on that case. We'll come at you probably with a short little video giving our thoughts. That will be huge.
I think like even like
But
signings and stuff too. Yeah, in January, December,
mhm,
January.
mhm,
So yeah,
mhm. But for now, we're signing off. We're calling it quits on this season. One of the seasons of all time. Um, I don't know if you describe the season in 3 words, what would it be?
um, like so beyond ass.
So, I would say shocking. I would say shocking, absolute torture. That was the season, in my opinion.
That's so
Actually,
facts,
no.
bro.
I'll say one word. I'll say melancholic. Say there was some feels. The season had me feeling some ways, but it also had me numb. Like I feel like I was kind of on autopilot
It was
for a lot of the season. It was so terrible,
it was a roller
but it
coaster.
also it ended optimistically. So I'll say melancholic. Like
Yeah,
there was high points and low points. So
yeah, that's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it.
yeah, yeah,
I think that's it.
yeah. But I think that's gonna be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. And hopefully this video ages well. Hopefully we get the signings we want. But until then, we'll see you guys later for hopefully a better season next year.
Yeah, hopefully.